Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're taking financial theory and finally turning it into real, tangible action. If you've been working on your budget and mapping out your debts, honestly, you've already done the hardest part. But today is where the rubber meets the road. We're looking at Steve Green's brilliant book, Financial Health in the 30 Steps, and we're zeroing in on the exact mechanics of making your first intentional, targeted debt payment. We're talking about fundamentally changing how you interact with your money.
Debt can really put you in a helpless mindset. So having a clear, visible roadmap of our tactical execution plan right at the start is a crucial grounding technique. We'll be covering the true cost of minimums, choosing your attack strategy, executing your first strike, the science of debt relief, gamifying your progress, and finally, your new financial identity. Let's get to it. Starting off with Section 1, the true cost of minimums. Making only minimum payments on your accounts can literally feel like this endless passive punishment, right? So the crucial point here is the mindset shift. For years, so many of us have just been taught to pay the minimum and just kind of survive. But as Steve Green points out, taking intentional action shifts you completely. You go from being a passive survivor to an active executor of a plan. You're no longer just taking a penalty. You're treating your debt repayment as a highly systematic, controllable execution. You are the driver's seat. And looking right here at this number, this is exactly why making that shift is so absolutely crucial. Credit card APRs are constantly sitting at 20% or even way higher. When your interest rates are that aggressive, your minimum payment is pretty much just feeding the interest beast. You send the money and your actual owed balance, it barely even budges. No way, we are not doing that anymore. So let's break that cycle. The math here is actually beautiful in its simplicity. When you attack the principal directly, you drastically reduce the overall cost of the debt. Because interest is calculated on your daily balance, bringing that principal down faster literally kills off future interest charges. Even a tiny extra payment is a massive strategic win. You're not just paying a bill, you're permanently lowering the total cost of the whole shebang. Moving right along to Section 2, choose your attack strategy. Because, well, we have to identify a specific target before we can strike. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the choice it gives you. You can't win a battle just swinging wildly in the dark, right? You need a target. You have two highly effective options here. First is the snowball method. That's targeting your smallest balance first. Go with this if you need quick psychological wins to keep your motivation fired up. Then there's the avalanche method, targeting the highest interest rate first. That's for you if you're strictly math-driven and just want to save the absolute most money. Honestly, the specific one you pick matters way less than just picking one and staying fiercely consistent with it. You know, a really common mistake folks make when they finally have a little extra cash is trying to be fair and spreading those extra payments across all their debts. Seriously, do not do this. Debt payoff works best when it's focused, like a laser beam. Spreading out your attacks dilutes your power, but a laser-focused attack, that creates the intense momentum you absolutely need to win this thing. All right, Section 3. Execute your first strike. The planning phase is over. It is time to step up and make that very first intentional debt attack payment. So, how do we actually do this? Let's walk through the technical transfer step by step. First, you're going to log into your banking portal. Second, confirm that your minimum payment is already handled. Third, and please don't skip this, verify you actually have these extra funds safely sitting in your budget margin. We want to be absolutely sure this payment doesn't cause a panic for groceries later, right? Okay, fourth, submit that extra payment. And fifth, make sure it is applied directly to the principal balance. Boom, you've just executed your first strike. Which leads us beautifully into Section 4, the science of debt relief. Let's talk about the profound physiological changes that happen inside your body when you finally fight back. Because the moment you execute that strike, something incredible happens. Money isn't just numbers on a screen. It's deeply, deeply physiological. Look at this quote from someone who just executed their first attack. It felt like exhaling after holding my breath for years. Man, I feel that. Financial stress literally tightens your chest. It spikes your cortisol. When you're just passively surviving debt, your entire nervous system is locked in this constant state of low-grade panic. But making an intentional payment, that is an active declaration of war against the foggy monster of debt. When you take that action, your brain registers a threat reduction. It instantly lowers your cortisol levels. You feel this profound emotional relief because you are reclaiming your autonomy and your dignity. You're proving to your own brain that you're no longer just a helpless passenger, you've got your hands firmly on the wheel. Section 5. Gamify your progress. That first payment feels amazing, but we need to keep that momentum going to maintain a system of regular overpayments.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we do that. Think of your debt like a video game boss HP bar. Actually seeing a visual representation of your balance shrinking provides this immediate, undeniable satisfaction. When you visualize your progress, it proves to your brain that this enemy is beatable. It triggers a hit of dopamine that massively strengthens your motivation to just keep attacking.
To really lock in that motivation, you need to create what's called a debt attack receipt. It's super simple, just a written record or a screenshot of your extra payment. But psychologically, it's huge. It serves as your undeniable proof of momentum. As humans, we need concrete evidence of change to stay engaged and actually shift our financial identity. Having that receipt gives you something tangible to hold on to.
Now, once you have that receipt, you absolutely have to celebrate. Mark it on a progress tracker, text a trusted friend, write it in your journal, or just go enjoy a free reward like a nice walk or watching your favorite movie. Why is this so important? Because our brains learn from reward. If you make paying off debt a totally miserable slog, you're going to quit. But by celebrating these small victories in healthy ways without spending extra money, you permanently cement a brand new, highly effective habit loop.
And finally, Section 6, your new financial identity. Let's look at how this first strike fundamentally changes who you are financially. Let's move to this point and see how it builds, because this is really the core of Steve Green's strategy. You aren't just changing a bank balance, you are building a completely new financial identity. Success is built through repetition, not intensity. So the best extra payment isn't some massive one-time chunk that leaves you stressed and broke. It's the manageable, intentional payment that you can realistically repeat next month. Over time, that systematic pattern of execution transforms you into someone who just naturally eliminates obstacles.
So I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. What temptation did you resist today to change your future? Think about that budget margin you created. You literally chose long-term freedom over short-term comfort. You proved your own agency. Keep that receipt, celebrate your incredible win, and start prepping for your next strike. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I absolutely cannot wait to see you conquer these financial goals.